How are you doing? Ralph here, Ralfy Customs. We're back on the Moto Martin for a bit. Let's do it. We're back on the Moto Martin, and I think there's loads of little bits and bobs that I need to get done. I'm going to mount the backlight in there. I'm going to drill the handlebars that I made, if you remember, if you follow along, for the wires for these to come out here, go in where they go in there, and come out there. And I've got to make a speedo bracket. And I think I'm going to machine a relief in the bottom of the risers, and then make a aluminium plate that fits in that relief with the speedo in, I think. So that's quite a bit to be getting on with at this stage. I'm going to see if I can get it on the bench and get it propped up. If it didn't have the exhaust on, I'd probably be better off at getting a jack under it, like, but we'll see. Right, with the fucking seat ump off and propped up, we can see, I don't know where to just mount that on the outside, or whether to cut a fucking hole and have it poking through a bit, like, you know. With the number plate, I think the number plate hanging straight off this will look neater than it's set back, for sure. And if we have that poking through, then the illumination might not be right with that. So I'm guessing 3 holes, just those 3 holes, to mount this on. In fact, that can go on the inside, the plate can go on the inside, and the light can go on the outside. We can do a sandwich, can't we? And that'll give us a little bit. So I think that's the one, just 3 holes. Nice and quick and easy. So we've just marked 20mm down, which corresponds with this bend there, like, and found the centre for the wires, and then gone 40.5 each side to give us 81 centres. I'm just running a little centre drill in there in the old fucking DeVault. So we've done 2 4mm lines, which you can't really fucking see. Now we need a big one, so I'm going to use the old saw. I'm going to go in with a 19mm old saw, 20mm old saw. Oh, it's going to be hard now. Go that way and up there. Might be better. Let's just pray. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today, etc, etc. So, actually, I'll use something else if I've got one. Hold on. I did think I might use a punch. These punches, you drill the hole for the bolt, shove that through, and then stick that on the end, and use a Allen wrench on your nut runner to pull that into the die. But the smallest one I've got is 22.5mm. And the other wants to be 19mm, really. The hole on this existing plate is 19mm, so 20mm is a bit bigger. 22.5mm, I think, maybe too big, but I'm not sure. Nah, I'm sure it is, look. Nice and steady. This should do it in short order. Come on, baby. Give it a wiggle round. And there we have it, look. wires run inside to go into where the battery is. Battery lives in here, if you remember. If you follow along, you'll know. And then that's going to sit like that. Happy days. Right, we've just taken the liberty of welding those brackets on. Yeah, there's a good fucking bit of penetration, but I've not welded the back of them. And there's other bits on here that ain't been finished welded, so I don't know whether to strip the swing arm out and get on and weld the inside of them, because I can't do it. Sure as shit can't get in there to see what I'm doing with the swing arm in. You know, what I need to get on with, I do know, is that I want to make an electric box that sits in here under the seat. Yeah. For the ECU, starters, relay. There's not a lot, is there? And get these wires done down the handlebars. Yeah. Happy days. And get the speedo mount done. Hey, let me just point out, joining the channel as a member and supporting us, like, every little helps, and we really, really fucking appreciate it. So check in the description below. There's no bracketry at all. All I've got is 2 M3 holes. So I'm thinking, come off here, make a plate that sits in here, so it's held with these bolts. Yeah, like that. That's what I'm thinking. I don't know how much meat there's going to be on it. It's either that or you do a plate that goes on the yoke, ain't it? Really higher up's better. Don't want it this side because it'll be upside down. We'll see about that. I think we're going to make this electric box. Again, I just thank Steve Watson. I know you'll be watching, mate. You said about the starter. I'm thinking it's the starter clutch on the back of the clutch, you know, which is a fucking, like, getting divorced, sorting that fucker out, and it's like moving house. It's such a job. Not really, but it's a pain in the arse. So, I've got my spare starter. I've got 2 spare starters. One on my donor engine, on my spare engine, sorry. And one that came with it. And I've tried the one that came with it on a battery, and it spins straight up. So I've took this is the one that was on it. I've left it connected. I've earthed it out and hit the starter button, and it's done fuck all. Just exactly the same. So 10-minute job. While I'm having my coffee, is switch out the starter motor, and now it fucking, I don't know if it will start like, but just every time, look. We'll have that. Thanks, mate. You saved me a right fucking ball ache and a load of stress, to be fair, because I was not looking forward to spanner in it.
Don't forget, folks, our Fuck Stock stickers are now available in our Etsy store, link in the description below. Fuck Stock, you know it makes sense.
Here we go, here we go, here we go. Now then, this fucking bastard box, this CAD now, we're in with the CAD. We're gonna, I reckon, if I mark on here where the top of the shocker is, on these rails with a marker pen, and then come in here with a cardboard and trace that shape, yeah, because it needs something, doesn't it? I ain't sure open works. I think it needs that, and it's going to fit in the back here. It's going to be as wide as the frame is and sit on top of here. It's going to be a multifaceted fucking electrics box. But I'll get busy with the CAD. We'll get the sides worked out, and I best see what material I've fucking got, and then we can work on the base and maybe the back, yeah, so on and so forth. So it needs to look sleek, but it needs to fit. So what we've done, we've that way. There's a flat across the bottom of the shocker and around the frame tube. It gives us that. Yeah. And I know I want it 6 inches wide at the front and 7 inches wide at the bottom, so it's going to flare out a bit like. So I'm going to cut the base. I'll do this rough with a cutting disc in the grinder, in the angle grinder, and then I'll go over to my fucking antique guillotine and trim these off proper, and cut 2 of these out. You see the most cost-effective way of fucking doing that, material effective way of doing that. It's going to be something like that, I guess, isn't it? So we'll put them on, mark round them, and I'll do them all with the chops or with the cut-off disc, I reckon. Get them cleaned up, get that tacked together, and then we can offer it up and look at putting a back in it, or a bottom in it, or whatever in it. Back in it, I guess. So, we've got the base, narrower at the front than it is at the rear, like most good things. We've got the 2 sides that are going to go on there, something like that. What I think I'll do is tack them on and have a guess at this fucking angle of the dangle, because they're not going, I don't think, straight up 90 degrees. I think that, but I'm not sure. I'm going to have, I'll test it, I'll try, I'll offer it up, and then have a guess, and then tack it and see from there, like. What I've worked out is it needs to come in, this end. These ends need to come in. If you do it dead square, then obviously it's 6 at the front and 7 at the back, which that's a bit wide for the frame. So I'll pull these in, I'm going to make a strip 6 inches wide, which is here, and that long, and then that will roll into shape there. I'll get on the fucking pipe anvil and we'll get it about formulated up. We'll put a centre line down it at 3 inches, and then we can measure off this 3 inches each side here and there, like, just to make sure we're not fucking doing it like a fucking Tower of Pisa. Hey, don't want it pissed up, do I? So I'll cut a strip. You've seen me cutting off now. I'll cut a strip 6 inches wide. I won't bother filming that. Clean it up, and then we'll go over to the pipe anvil and have a quick fucking bend. Right now, onto the pipe anvil. We've got a square, rectangle, oblong, with the centre line down. And what we need to do is bend it to suit that. So we use the pipe anvil, don't we? Just fucking do a bit of this, look. Just to get things started. Yeah. And then we offer that up and we go, bugger. Fucking, yeah, it's not bad. Not bad, but it's not quite right. So we'll just give it a bit more like that. And work our way along accordingly. Right, once we've got it about there, which is considerably less bend than I started with, if you've just seen me do it in that clip, then we can clamp it in the vise, can't we? Look, it's a bit hot. We can clamp it in the vise because it's wider than the vise, and then we can push it and pull it and move it wherever we need it to be, and knock the joints tight on the corners and just work our way around, tacking that in place like. Right, and with that done, just the last piece of the puzzle there. So pretty much it. So that's tacked in anyway. Right, sorry, I fucking caught my breath. That's all tacked up. I'll get it welded up and cleaned up, and then we can go from there, can't we? Righto, so that's all welded up. Okay, it looks like a World War I tank, doesn't it? Kind of. Anyway, I'm going to show you some love with a fucking big 110 5-inch fucking flappy wheel. Off camera, you don't need to see me fucking doing that. And then we'll look at cutting out a hole. I think that's fucking cutting the top out and mounting the necessaries in there. Happy days. Righto, so with that cleaned up, we can start making holes. Here's the bottom. We're going to make 3 holes, that big, in there, so the wires can come out and whatnot. Maybe 2 holes, not sure. And then we're going to cut the top out. But first we're going to drill the corners, sorry. We're going to drill the corners out to about 8mm or so. And then we'll just use a cutting disc to cut the flap out. And I think I'm going to machine up some weld-on bosses to here, because there's 2 holes already in the frame. They'll take bolts. And a third there, I think, with some threading, like, you know, so a bit of 20mm round or whatever, with an M8 thread in it, and I'll weld 3 of those on, and that can be where it mounts, so it hangs off those. So I'll get that drilled and chopped out off camera, and we'll see how it goes. Righto. So there we have it. I've only went for 2 underneath. I think that's more than enough to cater for the wiring needs. There's a bit of a burr on there, which I need to fettle off. I've gone round and draw filed to get all the burrs off. Can't really get in there. I might use me, see if I can get in with this, look. See if we can get in with a deburring tool. That'd be fucking pucker if I can. Right, let's get these fuckers made. So that I've measured this, it's about 20mm. Oh, that won't do, will it? Hold on, bear with. It was in the middle, it was that way. Yep, that's good. That's good. So if I just clean that up a bit with this, then they'll be fine. They'll be perfect for a quick weld on, won't they? So let's get it around where you can see it a bit better. There you go. And I just want to, for now, with an 8mm thread, 10mm thick. So just need to, nice and steady, look. Take some off this. And we'll take that down to about 20mm there, diameter, with the high-speed steel bit. And we spread it up. We're just going to break that burr like that, and we're going to drill that out to 6.8, like so. How deep's that? That's 20mm deep. We're on about 30mm for the depth of the tap, like, so we'll go 30 and a bit. We're going to make a third boss, I guess you call it. That drill bit's spinning in the chuck. Bear with. Not that one. That one. If you saw me short, I snapped that clean off on one of them. Wow. So, just clear them chips. There we go. Now we can feed in the machine tap. Plenty of lube on it. And keep everything crossed. It's fucking spinning in the taper, look. Someone, I think it was Jason, if you asked me about it. Yeah, the problem is that my Morse taper's not very tight on this collet holder, so it saves my tabs. Normally I have to whack it in with a fucking rubber. Oh, here goes the light, look. Hey, that 10 bob in the meter didn't last long again, did it? I really need to do that. Right, so we've got a M8 thread up there now, and we need to part a piece off at 10mm long. So let's put a part in offshore. Let's pull you out of the way, look, a little bit. Scream if you want to go faster. Drop this tool in. Slow this down to that, but go forward. And we want 10 mil, so on that in, go along. 10 mil seems massive out there. 10 mil it is. So we'll port that off. Like so. Get me file in there, break that edge, and break that edge. And now lube it up. So I'll do this one and then I'll make another one identical. And we'll see about sorting them out on the electrics box. Righto. So we've got these threaded doobies that are going to bolt there. These are going to be fixed to the electrics box, and we're going to have bolts there, but it can't protrude. We need to make some little sockets. Look, let me show you. So don't know why there's holes there, but let's use them and tidy that up at the same time. We're going to make a socket like this. It takes a M8 cap head, which I should have one over here. Oh, I've not, but I've got some in my box. And I'll weld them in. So I'll make a bit of steel with a M8 socket to take a cap head like that, and then we'll drill these out to take that socket, focus, and weld them in. I'm not too worried about the underneath. They only told the electrics box. It's not holding the fucking engine in. So we'll drill that, make the things, drill that, take them in with them screwed up underneath like that, and then weld these to the electrics box. Yeah, kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Right, so we've turned this down to 20 mil OD, just like we did before. Broke the edge, and we've drilled it to 8.5 mil. So it's 8 mil clearance for the bolts. Now we're going to countersink it, and regular readers will have seen me do this a few times before. So just going to touch off at that, and I want to go 13 millimeters deep, so plenty of lube, because that's what separates us from the animals, eh boys? And just nice and steady. Watch them Shirley temples coming off, them curly whirlies, look at that. Not much wrong there, is there? Right, that's 6 mil. Come on, nice and steady. 8 mil. 10 mil. Gee, that was a long one, nearly fucking got me. I'm going to call it at 12, 13's about there. So we'll have that out of the way. We'll break the edge with my new fucking edge breaker. My new deburring tool. Like that. And now that should not fit in there. What's going on there? Should be 13. Fuck me. Let me go and have a shit. I reckon I've put the wrong end mill in. Bear with. Right, I'm going to call it my bad on that one. Let's use a proper countersinking tool. So that's going to fucking do it. So we'll twist that on, and then we'll wind the tail. Let's move it out a bit, look. We'll wind the tailstock out until we see the 10 appear, which is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There, and then we'll lock it off with a lever that's in here. Look, you can't see that. And now we'll do that. Just take a little skim off this wheel, won't it? Because we've done it out to 1/2 inch and needed another mil out of it, another 40 thou. So we'll do this until we get to that 13. There's 10, 12, a little bit more, 13. Now I'm going with my deburring tool. Coming with the bolt. It sits low. It's well in there because we're going to break these edges. These corners are going to fuck off when we fit it. Yeah. So all that's left is to part this off at 20mm long, I think, which we'll do while I've got you now. Look, we'll just drop the parting off tool in. I'll bring you out a bit, block that off, and then have a measure at 20mm. Fucking hell, what's going on here? I've not made this big enough. It's a bit of a fuck up, this one, isn't it? It's 20mm. Am I going to get there at 20mm? No, I need to take that off, so just give me a minute. Fuck up. So, take two. So, with that bit there machined up, we can now have 20mm, eyeball 20mm on the ruler, and we should be fucking good to go. We'll just get our started, back it out, break the edges, and send it, really. And then we'll go and have a chest fit and see if we need to adapt it, like. So here we come. Scream if you want to go faster, ain't it? Boom on you fucker. Boosh, sorted, happy days, pleased with that. So here's the back end of one, like, with the shoulders tuck off it, because it's got to sit, if I can demonstrate, it's got to sit inside a frame rail, like. So if I come over here, look, there's one fucking in place. So I'll tick that in there, and I'll tick the other one in there, and then we'll screw the threaded sockets on that I made, or mark the box and drill through so these can go all the way through, or, you know, we'll do that. Right, we've got them tigged in. We had a few inclusions, fucking hot. This pipe itself, this tube's a bit fucked up inside, a bit fucking corroded. So we've had a bit of that come through, but I think we'll be fucking hunky-dory at that. No problem there. I'm going to try the seat on, see if I need to take the tops off, although I'm hoping I don't. And then, bastard, once it's cooled down, we'll look at fitting the bits to the electrics box and so on and so forth. I think this one's going to get a tab. Going to get a less elaborate affair, but I'm not sure yet. So with all of the bosses made and those welded in the frame, I'm just going to shorten these bolts down with my hacksaw. I really like using my hacksaw. Although these are only mild steel, well, normal tensile, I'll call it, they still take a little bit of cutting through. But once it does, it's really nice. Hey, righto, so there we go. That's the mounts made, welded on. And the same on the frame, the corresponding ones on the frame. So all I need to do now is look at, try and find the components that need mounting in there, which that's not one. That is one. I don't know what that is. I think that's off the Speedo. So that's one. Ground, battery. So that needs mounting in there. This thing, we need a couple of studs, don't we? Fucking hell. 6mm studs. So, yeah, like that. I need to find the black box, the ECU, although that don't need to be fixed, I don't think. That can just fucking sit in there like. And that's about it. I think this does everything. Starter relay, the fucking whole lot like. So just mount that and find the ECU. So the only components I have are the starter solenoid and the MO unit. The Motor Gadget MO unit, or MO unit, I don't know fucking what they're called. So we're going to use a couple of these. I'm going to weld these bolts on inside to bolt that down. Yeah, this one's marked as ground, so will be bob on there because it'll mount to this, which will mount to the chassis. This will make a little U-bracket and weld it on out of a bit of tin, 1.2 sheet or whatever. We'll cut a strip and bend a U, and then that'll push on there on its rubbers, and that'll leave access for the leads. And then you've got all the rest of it for the ECU, which I've not got. I've looked every fucking where and I ain't got an ECU, so there you go. If it was mine, like my Triumph, I wouldn't bother too much about bolting that down anyway, like, because by the time you've wired it all up in there and got it in, I reckon it'll be sound. So I'll make it off camera, I'll weld them on. I'll make a little U-bracket out of a strip of steel as wide as those slots with rounded corners. Tack it in, tack the bolts in. I'm not sure I'm going to mark where the centres are, but I'll get that right. That'll be neat. And then bolt it back up, and that's fucking done. We'll call that done, won't we? Happy days. Right, quick fucking edit, look. I wasn't happy with the shape of it at the bottom because of the shocker. So I've put a fucking power bulge in it. And I'm sure there will still be plenty of room in there for everything that needs to go in there. And now it's got a nice fucking shape where the shocker sits. So I just think that for the time it took, I didn't bother filming it, obviously. You're just seeing the finished thing, like, but that's fucking pucker. There you go. It just leaves me, as always, to thank you for watching. Check out memberships, merchandise, and all my friends in the description below. And I'll catch you on the next one. See you later, everyone. Big love.